So the Jesse Jane timeline.
Okay.
Like, the thing's 2 years long.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
We're like, oh, Jesse's more of a harm to himself. Why does he make all these dumb decisions? Yada, yada, yada. It's like, well, the show's 2 years. That's the date.
He's on meth consistently.
He's on meth. And, like, maybe 3-4 months, maybe 6 months into the show, Jane
One
dies.
of his girlfriend dies. Yeah.
And then, so, like, his girlfriend's pretty freshly dead for, the rest of the series. So, like, no wonder.
Then he has to, like, murder someone, like, a few months later.
Immediately has to murder someone.
Knocks on someone's door and shoots him in the face. Like,
knock, knock, you're dead.
Yeah. And Gale's like also
favorite
one
game.
It's a terrible fucking.
It's my
knock,
favorite
knock
game.
It also doesn't help. Gale's probably like the nicest looking person in Breaking Bad. Like, of all the people he could have killed in that show, he's probably like the worst one to have to like murder, like looking in the eyes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess I just never thought about that time. I mean, you don't really think about the fact that it's 2 years.
Yeah,
because the series,
season 5.
Because you've already been watching it for 5 years at that point.
The first time I watched it, I literally like when he was 51, I was like, it hasn't been like 2 or 3 years at least.
Yeah,
it's been a year. Like it was insane to me.
At least they do, and with the Breaking Bad series, they do a very good job of, singling out the timeline which is going in. So Breaking Bad, you go and you can tell like when you start watching again that it's definitely 2007, 2008 to 2009.
Yeah,
you can tell. Versus like some series, whenever it's supposed to only take place in a couple years, but the series, actually takes 4, 5, 6 years to complete.
Mm-hmm.
And then by like that last season, like there's things in there that like don't match up. Like technology's changed. Like all of a sudden the series started out where like there's no such thing as like an iPad, and all of a sudden the last series they're like holding an iPad. Like wait a minute, hold on, that doesn't even match up.
Walking Dead had that problem with cars.
Yeah,
like the apocalypse started in like 2010, and there were like 2012 and 2013.
That was promotions.
Yeah, makes sense. But
like the one season they were like heavily
green,
Chevy.
Yeah,
the green Chevy. They were. I'm like, hold on, wait, that's not even.
Yeah, it was like a 2012, I think.
Yeah.
Just like the Chrysler commercial in season 5.
Yeah, that that was definitely not an 09 Challenger.
They fucked up. I might have said this before in the last one. The Bin Laden, yeah. It doesn't happen until 2011. It's 09.
Yeah. Bin Laden?
Wasn't this complicated? Whacking Bin Laden.
Whacking
Obama.
Uh-oh. You're on a watch list now.
Yeah.
Oops. Sorry, Obama.
And then what was okay, so box score. I got 1 broken cell phone, 1 explosion. I got 2 deaths, but are we counting the cleaning lady? We didn't see her die, but she is dead.
We should count it.
I would count it.
Okay, so 3. Technically, Lydia dies.
I wouldn't count Walt or her.
Okay.
I'd say they die at the end of the show, basically.
Because Walt you don't see it, and then Lydia, all you hear is she's in critical condition and not expected to survive. So it doesn't say that she's died. So she could still be like in critical condition, dying.
Yeah. Hope it's slow. I never liked Lydia.
Also, on the broken phones thing, I was thinking this while watching that and then watching the first season of Better Call Saul. The whole breaking the phone thing doesn't really make sense. I understand taking the battery out. But you break the phone, all you're doing is breaking the screen off. You still have the whole motherboard and everything down here that's still active and still connecting to the wireless network. They can still track. You're just breaking the screen off.
Probably just to look cool.
The taking the battery out makes sense, or the dropping it in like a glass of water. Okay, but the breaking it like
it's to look cool,
It's not like hang up. It's not like you're taking an iPhone and breaking it in half where you're like, yeah, this is done for.
That's what I did with my last 2. What do you mean?
I've broke 8 iPhones this week.
I mean that's like the common like criminal thing in like shows.
Break the phone.
They hang up, clip. It looks cool.
Which just still doesn't make sense.
Did you just call someone on that phone? No, look at it.
It's in half. There's 2 pieces of it.
How would I have done that?
How would I call if it's 2 pieces?
How do you make a 2-part phone call? That doesn't even make sense.
That is pretty dumb. I never thought about that.
It just clicked the other day. I'm like, hold on, wait.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
My other ask was, do we count Todd? Because technically he dies in this timeline.
It's same thing with.
It's Breaking
it's the
Bad.
same thing with
You don't
Walt.
see it.
Same thing with Walt.
Yeah, you
Alright.
don't
Same
see
thing
it.
with Walt. We don't count it.
Just saying, it's in there.
What are you doing?
We know it's in there. Are you like building a dome?
Yeah, it overlaps.
Everything
From the
overlaps,
last
but
bit,
like
because technically the El Camino takes us
but
into
you
season
watch
5.
You watch
You know?
Todd die in
But
Breaking
then
Bad.
theoretically, then you would just sit there and have to count all the other Nazis that died, and then you'd have to sit there and count everyone who died between. Think of the first flashback that there was in El Camino. You'd have to then count every death from that flashback forward.
I'm willing.
No, it doesn't count. Not for this movie. It does not count.
If you don't
We're
see the
counting what
person-
happens in the movie.
If you don't see a dead body, it doesn't count.
Yeah. If you're not rolling a dead body in a rug and tossing it off the balcony, it doesn't count.
Like if we saw Walter like going to the morgue, we could count it. But
They showed
you don't see anything.
they had to make a little device because they wanted to make sure that croc fell out of the rug. So they had a little thing that just like shoved it out as they pushed it out. So they had a little device rigged. So I thought that was cool.
That is.